Thanks to everyone who have subscribed. If you have not, please do. And thanks for coming out here. I really appreciate you. Direct primaries. Give us your membership register. Inec tells parties. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you ever so much for your huge and massive support. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Today we are keeping you up to date with all that is going on in Nigeria and around the world. Inec is the body that oversees elections with regards to Nigeria, and this body, Independent National Electoral Commission, has asked parties to give their membership register with regards to the elections of Edo and Ondo states. Let's get into the news and get all the details. Direct primaries. Give us your membership register. Inec tells party. The Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec, has asked political parties desirous of using the direct primary election method mode ahead of the forthcoming governorship election in Edo and Ondo State to avail it of their membership register or delegate lists should they be considering using the indirect method or mode. This was as the Commission again described the rising cost of conducting by-elections in the country, describing such as elections as divisive and strenuous, and distancing is far more improved when we conduct the indirect process. Inec had last week unveiled a policy document in which it said it will be working with relevant stakeholders to see how political parties can be asked to nominate replacements for deceased lawmakers rather than conducting by-election to fill the void. Speaking at the first virtual consultative meeting with leaders of political parties on Monday, Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, warned the parties against political thuggery as they go into their primaries. He said, based on experience, it is also important to draw your attention to the necessity of rumor and free and fair election during your party primaries form the foundation of the secondary election conducted by the Commission. So your party primaries must be spotless. You must therefore avoid such acts of thuggery, buggery, or disturbances during election, vote buying, and other sun drying violence of the Electoral Act, violating the very essence of the Commission. As we monitor and conduct the party primaries, we will pay particular attention to your complaints with the law and compliance and to consider sanctions so that the rudely behave of some parties' supporters is not carried away and not taken attention or noted of. At the same time, I wish to appeal to political parties that options for direct primaries to avail us with the register of members to be used for the election, from ward to local government and state level for the effective discharge of our monitoring responsibility under the law. Those that opt for indirect primaries should simply make available the Commission the list of their delegates from the elections. Doing otherwise will amount to going into an election without the voters' register. The Commission makes available to each political party the complete register of voters before every major election. We expect political parties to recuperate for their primaries, he stated. Yakubu recalled that INEC has since 6th of February released the timetable and schedule for activities for both elections, warning political parties to adhere strictly to the schedule as there won't be any extension of the deadline. He said, party primaries for the nomination of candidacy for the Edo governorship election began yesterday. Already, some political parties have invited the Commission to monitor their primaries, which must be conducted from 2nd to 27th June 2020. This time around, the submission of nomination form will be done online, for which a dedicated portal has been set up. Let us therefore warn political parties that intend to field candidates for the election to strictly adhere to these dates as well as the new online procedures for the filing of nominations. Any political party that operates outside these dates will only have itself to blame. The portal will be automatically shut down and the scheduled date and the fixed hour would have been closed. The legal department and ICT will brief this meeting on the new procedures. The Inec boss also restated his earlier position on the need for the national convention of the frequency of by-election in the country. He said, in addition to the governorship election in Edo and Ondo states, the commission is also making preparations to conduct 9 by-elections. The details have already been made public. However, as we are preparing for the meeting, our office in Zamfara State informed us that the members of the State House of Assembly for Bukhara constituency passed on yesterday. As we await the declaration of vacancy from the Speaker of the House of Assembly, the number of by-elections have increased. The Commission mourns the loss of all our national and state legislators and extend our condolences to their family and people. At the same time, there is a need for the national convention around the frequency of by-election in Nigeria. In the month of May 2020 alone, 5 members of the House of Assembly passed on. Since December 2019, a period of 6 months, 12 members of the National and State House of Assembly have simply passed on. This is in addition of the resignation of 2 senators from Bayelsa who have since been sworn in as governor and deputy of the state. The cost of conducting these by-elections to the commission and security agencies, political parties and candidates, election observations and media legalities, both pre-election and post-election, and the disruption of activities as a result of restriction of movement on election day is humongous. And that's why we are speaking and advising people to see to it that this process is not repeated. There is no election season in Nigeria any longer. The commission is busy conducting elections all year round between one general election and another. This often diverts our attention away from reforms, innovations, pre-learning, and planning for the consolidation of the electoral processes. The Commission is going to open a discussion with the stakeholders and the National Assembly for necessary reform towards more cost-effective and democratic options. Interi, National Chairman of the Interi Party Advisory Council, IPAC, and National Chairman of African Action, AAC, Dr. Leonard, hailed the electoral upright for their decision to pilot the use of electoral voting as a form in 2021. He said the parties are also excited that the Commission has opted to take the bull by the horn to deepen the use of technology and in the electoral processes with its planning introduction of electronic voting machine in the 2021 polls and a pilot scheme. The body of political parties have long conversed for full introduction of electoral voting in all elections and restate as is welcome development. IPAC, which noted that organizing election in a pandemic era is an uphill task, also commended Inec for the bold step it has taken to come up early with a well-hashed policy and conducting election in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. The council, however, called on Inec to the use and willing to review all aspirants with regards to the election parties, which is stipulated very soon. Hello, so that's the news INEC has said, if they, if because Edo and Ondo has been saying they want the indirect method. Well, the indirect method involved them producing the list of registered parties, so that now gives who votes and who did not vote and who voted for. Actually, it's more transparent. Anyway, my people, what do you think? Don't forget to like us, share, subscribe, click on the notification button. God bless and bye for now.